Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, unfortunately, we have another tragic story of somebody going overboard on a cruise ship. We just talked about the gentleman who went overboard on Thanksgiving and survived after 20 hours in the water. Then we had a 23-year-old woman go missing in Australia. And unfortunately, that turned tragic, as well as this story. Unfortunately, we have a cruise ship returning to the MSC Meraviglia was returning to Port Canaveral in Orlando. And a 36-year-old woman went missing overboard. And again, tragically, the Coast Guard did find her in the water unresponsive. And so another bad ending. And people are right away saying, doesn't that seem like an awful lot? Doesn't that seem like an awful lot in one time period? Consider the average is around 12 a year. We've had 3 in the last roughly 30 days or less stories in the news. And one of the reasons for that, folks, is don't forget it is the holiday season. And while a lot of us are celebrating and having, getting family get together and things are good and we're shopping for Christmas and we're looking forward to the big turkey dinners, and a lot of people can't. And a lot of people struggle this time of year with loneliness and depression. And I just want to remind everybody out there, I'm not sure any of these stories had anything to do with that, but there is a good chance possibly. And just want to remind everybody that there is help out there. You can talk to your friends. You can talk to your family. It's not an easy thing to do. If you can't talk to them, you can talk to strangers just simply by texting or dialing a number on the suicide hotline now. And I'll post that up as well. And please, if you have any kind of thoughts about anything like this, reach out to somebody. Or if you think somebody else is having those thoughts, try and reach out to them as best you can. It's not an easy situation. I've lived through it as well. And you don't always know what's happening. You really don't. Because people get good at putting up a very strong front. So, yeah, not a great story. Start the week off. The end of the week could start the story off, but I think it's important to bring these stories up, so when you're sailing with friends and family, you can sometimes get a gist of maybe something happening. Just maybe this might prevent one person. So again, 36-year-old woman from the MSC Meraviglia has been found unresponsive. Also in the news, it seems almost like a carbon copy of yesterday's video when I said a woman went overboard in Australia. Well, we had a woman go overboard in Orlando, and we also had a Carnival cruise ship canceled. Well, now we have 2 more Carnival cruise ships canceled, but for different reasons. Well, one's the same reason. We had the Carnival Sunrise has canceled sailings in 2024, as she will go in for an extended dock as well in February. And so people have getting notices that they're being canceled. Now you can do the variety of different things. You can get your full refund if you wish. You can price protect your sailing and book another sailing on the same ship or a similar ship, similar type of cabin. You'll also be given an onboard credit, like around $50 or something along those lines. But they're giving you, again, over a year's notice. It's still, a lot of us make plans a year in advance, but at least you normally haven't paid for your airfare or your hotels yet, which makes it a little easier to do so. It could be just your vacations. A lot of people have to book their vacations well in advance, and that could make a big effect. But we also have another one, the Carnival Miracle. Now this one might anger a few Carnival loyal fans because they're just canceling the cruise so they can make another cruise. They're going to do a 14-day Hawaii cruise, leaving from the port of Los Angeles, I believe it was. And this is a, Carnival Journeys excursion and Carnival Journeys sailing, in which they often will go to more exotic places with their ships, make them longer cruises, that sort of thing. And they tend to be very popular, but they canceled smaller sailings in order to do that one sailing. So it, to me, seems more like bad planning. Why wouldn't you have done this to begin with? Maybe they didn't have permission, or they didn't have the authority, or did somebody just say, hey, you know what? Those sailings in 2024, we have a lot of them. Let's maybe throw something different into the mix. So it gives another option for booking on those ships. But I know that if I have a cruise booked, say going to the Caribbean, and somebody calls me up and says, oh, by the way, we canceled your cruise. Oh, well, what's wrong with the ship or anything? Oh, nothing. We decided to go over there that week instead. I might get a little upset with that. I might be just a little tiffed, if you will, going off on that as well. So, yeah, not great news for some Carnival fans. But hey, if you're looking forward to Hawaii and going on Carnival, 14-day return trip does sound appealing. I will admit that. So some people will be happy, some people won't. It's always the way things go. Okay. Next, we have a scary story for cruise passengers that was happening in India. Now, the situation is they were arriving in Goa, and apparently there is some kind of dispute going on with the taxi drivers there. Well, 4 tour buses arrived for 100 American passengers to take them to the spice and the temples, and they were not allowed into the cruise port. They would not let them through, and what was happening were the taxi drivers were stopping and surrounding the buses from coming in. Now, these were pre-booked shore excursions from the cruise ship. The manager of the bus line went down there and tried to figure things out. He was talking to the police inspector, and he was trying to negotiate with the taxi drivers' unions. And at one point, they had to park the buses about 1 kilometer away from the cruise ships, from the cruise port, and the 100 passengers started walking to the buses. Now, that sounds bad enough if you're a tour, if I have to walk a mile to the buses. What are you talking about? In India, the heat that would be going on right now? Well, the passengers walked that distance only to get there. And as the passengers were starting to board the buses, they started getting threats and being shouted down at by the taxi drivers, who also then threatened the bus driver, saying, if passengers get on your bus, we're going to break the bus and could do other things, shall we say. They're very threatening to the drivers. All this time, they are trying to negotiate with the taxi driver, saying, what's going on? The tour bus operator is wondering why they're not being escorted in by the police, why the cruise dock isn't doing anything with their security, why nothing's happening. And it turns around that all 100 passengers eventually had to walk back to the bus, to the cruise ship, sorry. And they were not happy. This is a high-end cruise that arrived. This is a smaller, high-end luxury cruise. And so when they got back, when they started complaining to the cruise director and the person in front of the shore excursion desk, and the captain eventually got involved as well, who then lodged a complaint with the Indian U.S. Embassy. And also said, by the way, I will never bring this ship to Goa ever again. This is the cruise ship captain saying this. We will never go here. We will go further down the coast in India to another port, which is very welcoming and has never had problems and has never had a situation like this where our passengers felt threatened. And this could be a big case of biting the hand that feeds you, because a lot of the taxis also make a lot of money from the cruise port, especially the luxury ones where the people will come out, jump into a taxi and go to a destination and rent it for the day. Well, Now the word's going out to other cruise lines and other cruise ships to completely avoid going into Goa. And this could come around and just bite everybody and all the tourism in that area right in the behind. All because of some dispute with the taxi drivers. Now, obviously, we don't know the whole situation. We're getting this, third hand from reporting from the Indian newspapers and the translations and things like that. But apparently now the government's going to get involved. The police will be involved. The union leaders are being sought after. And there could be a lot of things going on in the near future, especially if more cruise ships decide, we're not going to go there, we're going to go over there instead. Again, sometimes you bite the hand that feeds you and you end up starving. So I would not have liked to have been one of those passengers out there with a bunch of angry taxi drivers shouting down. That's a situation that even the cruise line should never have let happen. They should have never let their passengers go out that distance when they heard there was problems. They should have kept them close to the cruise ship. So, not a great day for stories today. Not a great day at all. Some cancellations, unfortunate happenings on the MSC Meraviglia, and then passengers being threatened in India. Not a good situation at all. But I hope you do appreciate the story and the update to keep you informed. If you did, please hit that like button. Maybe consider subscribing to the channel for more information on cruising from around the world. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.